In May 2025, United Airlines did something no major U.S. carrier had done in years. It voluntarily canceled 35 round-trip flights a day from its own hub, 10% of its entire Newark schedule, gone overnight. United CEO Scott Kirby went public blaming the FAA, air traffic control staffing shortages, and technology failures. But here's what he didn't say out loud. Newark Liberty International Airport, the airport where United built its East Coast empire, is now so operationally broken that the FAA has capped flight operations through October 2026. A radar facility in Philadelphia keeps going dark. Hundreds of delays hit the airport on routine days. And in the middle of all this chaos, the Port Authority just approved the largest airport rebuild in the region's history, $45 billion to essentially demolish and reconstruct Newark from the ground up. This is the story of how United's most valuable asset became its biggest liability, and why the fix won't arrive for years. To understand what's happening, you have to understand how completely United controls Newark. In 2024, Terminal C alone, United's exclusive terminal, handled 32.9 million passengers. That's roughly 68% of every human being who flew through Newark that year. United operates out of all three terminals at EWR, but Terminal C is the fortress. It has 3 concourses, 3 security checkpoints, a Polaris lounge, 2 United clubs, and a connected operation that functions as United's primary transatlantic gateway from the eastern United States. Newark is one of 3 airports in the New York metropolitan area, alongside JFK and LaGuardia. But for United, it's effectively the only one. While Delta built its New York fortress at JFK and American retreated from LaGuardia's marginal economics, United bet everything on Newark. The airline flies from Newark to more destinations in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East than any other East Coast hub outside of JFK. Its Polaris business class product runs 16-hour flights to Hong Kong, 14-hour flights to Mumbai, and dozens of daily European departures. The advantage is geography. Newark sits 16 miles from Midtown Manhattan, closer to the financial district than LaGuardia. It's the only one of the 3 New York airports with direct NJ Transit rail access to Penn Station, and it has something JFK lacks: room for growth. JFK is hemmed in by Queens neighborhoods and Jamaica Bay. Newark has open runways, a large airfield, and direct highway access. That geography is what made Newark valuable. It's also what made the disaster inevitable. February 20, 2025, United Flight 1909 from San Francisco turns around mid-flight over Nebraska and returns to San Francisco. Not because of mechanical problems, not because of weather, because Newark, its destination, has completely stopped functioning. That week, Newark recorded over 400 flight delays in a single day. Average arrival delays exceeded 5 hours by midday Friday. Passengers sat in planes on tarmacs across the country waiting for takeoff clearance that never came. The cause was a combination that would become painfully familiar over the following months: FAA air traffic controller shortages, a recent FAA facility relocation, and a 60-day runway rehabilitation project that narrowed Newark's operational capacity at the worst possible time. Then it got worse. In April and early May 2025, Newark suffered multiple radar and communication failures at the Philadelphia Terminal Approach Control Facility, specifically Area C, which manages Newark's airspace remotely from 85 miles away. Controllers temporarily lost radar contact with aircraft. Communications briefly went dark. Each individual incident lasted only minutes, but each one triggered cascading delays that took hours to unwind. By May 2nd, United's CEO had seen enough. In a public letter to customers, Scott Kirby announced the airline was voluntarily removing 35 daily flights from Newark, about 10% of United's schedule. He cited long-simmering FAA challenges and said United had been urging the U.S. government for years to fix the infrastructure. The message was as diplomatic as possible, but the subtext was clear. United was no longer willing to operate at its full Newark capacity because the underlying system couldn't support it. While United was canceling flights, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey was finalizing the largest capital plan in its history, $45 billion for 2026 through 2035. At the center of that plan is a near-total reconstruction of Newark Liberty International Airport. The groundwork has been underway for years. Terminal A, the brand-new $2.7 billion domestic terminal, opened in January 2023 and was immediately named the best new airport terminal in the world. It replaced the original Terminal A, which dated back to 1973. The new facility handles domestic flights for United, JetBlue, Delta, American, Spirit, and several smaller carriers. It's genuinely world-class. Glass-walled gate areas, dynamic digital signage, consolidated security, and a central marketplace designed to feel more like a modern shopping district than an airport.
Terminal A was the proof of concept. The Port Authority has now committed to the full rebuild. The next project is Terminal B, the 53-year-old international terminal that currently handles Lufthansa, Emirates, Air India, British Airways, Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, and dozens of other foreign carriers. Terminal B was built in 1973. Its three concourses, B1, B2, and B3, operate on infrastructure that in some cases dates back to 1928. The Port Authority approved $55 million in October 2024 just for preliminary design work on the replacement. The full rebuild will happen through a public-private partnership similar to Terminal A, with construction expected to begin later this decade. Total cost has not been disclosed, but will almost certainly exceed $4 billion based on comparable projects. The third major piece is AirTrain Newark. The current People Mover system, which opened in 1996, can handle 33,000 daily riders. Construction on a complete replacement began in October 2025 with a $3.5 billion budget. The new system, 2.5 miles of track with new stations, will handle 50,000 daily riders when it opens. Originally targeted for 2026, the project has already slipped to 2030 at the earliest. Beyond the terminals and the AirTrain, the plan includes expanding Terminal A with additional gates, adding a third major taxiway to the airfield, and redesigning the roadway network. The total Newark-specific spending across the 2026 to 2035 capital plan likely exceeds $10 billion when everything is combined. Here's where the optimism has to stop.
This is the brutal irony of the Newark rebuild. When all $45 billion is spent, the airport will have brand new terminals, a world-class AirTrain, expanded runways, and state-of-the-art passenger facilities. And passengers will still sit on grounded aircraft waiting for controllers who aren't there to clear them for takeoff. United's response to this chaos has been a strategic retreat that's actually strengthening the airline's long-term position at Newark. The 10% schedule cut imposed in May 2025 was framed as a response to FAA problems, but it had a secondary effect that benefits United. By reducing its own flight count, United made the remaining flights more reliable, which preserves its premium product quality. A Polaris passenger flying to London on a 9 p.m. departure doesn't care that 3 budget leisure flights to Orlando were cut to make that possible. They care that their flight actually takes off on time. The FAA caps add another layer. With total airport operations now legally capped at 72 flights per hour through at least October 2026, no competitor can expand at Newark to take advantage of United's schedule reductions. JetBlue can't grow, Delta can't grow, Spirit can't grow. The capacity pie is fixed by federal order, and United still holds the biggest slice. This effectively gives United a government-enforced moat around its Newark hub. United's corporate strategy has adapted around this reality. The airline has shifted growth toward other hubs: Washington Dulles, Chicago O'Hare, Houston, Denver. International expansion is happening, but the aggressive Newark growth that defined United's early 2020 strategy has paused. United's second quarter 2025 financial results took a direct hit from the Newark disruptions, and the company has been careful not to commit capital to Newark expansion until the operational picture stabilizes. At the same time, United is going deep on premium. The new Polaris Studio Business Class, announced for its wide-body fleet, is being designed around the type of long-haul international routes Newark specializes in. Premium revenue is where United extracts the most dollars per passenger, and Newark's geography for transatlantic flying makes it irreplaceable as a premium hub. The airline is effectively playing defense while the Port Authority rebuilds the airport around it. Hold the key routes, protect the premium product, wait for the infrastructure to catch up. The next 5 years at Newark will define United's future on the East Coast. The immediate term looks painful. FAA flight caps remain in effect through October 2026. Construction on the new AirTrain will disrupt ground transportation throughout the airport. Runway work continues periodically. The Terminal B rebuild is still years from breaking ground, which means international passengers will continue using a 53-year-old facility into the 2030s. Delays will continue. Cancellations will continue. The airport will operate in a state of semi-permanent construction. The medium term, 2028 through 2030, is when the rebuild starts becoming visible. Terminal A expansion gates come online. AirTrain construction reaches its most disruptive phase before delivery. Terminal B procurement completes and demolition begins. United's Terminal C is expected to receive significant upgrades in this window to match the quality of the new facilities around it. The long-term, post-2032, is when Newark finally becomes the airport United has been waiting for. New Terminal B delivers a world-class international gateway. New AirTrain connects everything seamlessly. Expanded airfield capacity supports higher flight volumes. By this point, whether any of it actually matters depends entirely on whether the FAA has modernized the air traffic control system that manages Newark's airspace. That's the question everyone in American aviation is quietly trying to answer. Physical infrastructure spending is measurable, visible, and politically attractive. Air traffic control modernization is technical, slow, and invisible to voters. The $45 billion Port Authority plan is real and will be executed. The ATC fix might not be. Newark's story is the story of modern American aviation compressed into one airport. The infrastructure is being rebuilt at historic scale. The operational system is falling apart in real time. The dominant airline at the hub has the most to gain and the most to lose simultaneously. And the fix for the actual problem lives in a different federal agency's budget than the fix for the visible problem. United built its East Coast empire on the bet that Newark's geographic advantages would always matter more than its operational constraints. That bet is now being tested every single day. The rebuild will eventually deliver the airport United needs. The question is whether the air traffic control system catches up in time for any of that new infrastructure to matter. For now, United is doing the only thing it can do: cutting flights, protecting premium revenue, and quietly funding the rebuild of the airport it built its business around. Against all logic, the dominant carrier at America's most broken major hub is also the one with the clearest path forward, and also the one with the most to lose if that path takes too long.